Welcome to This Explainer. Let's jump right in. You know that awful, dreaded knot in your stomach you get before stepping up to a microphone or standing at the front of a conference room? Well, if you've ever felt that, you are in the exact right place today. We're going to take that public speaking dread and transform it into a completely manageable, actionable, and honestly empowering process. We're breaking down the actual science and strategy of stage fright, using insights from our source material to help you turn all that panic into sheer power.
So, do you dread speaking in public? Listen, if you're nodding your head right now, you are acknowledging a virtually universal fear. It's totally normal. But here's the secret we're going to unpack today. Those anticipatory nerves, they are absolutely not a sign of failure. They're not some warning sign that you're about to bomb. Actually, as we're going to see, they're a biological tool. It's just a physiological response, and you can literally learn to harness it for your own success. Okay, let's dive into this. We've got a concrete, chronological 4-step survival guide to conquering those butterflies before you take the stage. 1. Reframing the fear. 2. The pre-speech routine. 3. Harnessing your physical energy. And 4. Delivering your message.
All right, step 1, reframing the fear, the psychological foundation. Because before we tackle the physical stuff, we've got to build a strong mental framework to kind of trick the brain. We almost always tell ourselves, I'm nervous. But, the label you attach to your feelings directly influences how you respond to them. So instead of saying you're nervous, try consciously changing that internal narrative. Tell yourself, my body is getting me ready to perform. See what we did there? You're taking a negative label and flipping it into a positive, proactive one. Biologically speaking, your body is doing the exact same thing whether you're terrified of a huge crowd or, say, outrunning a bear in the woods. You get a faster heartbeat, sweaty palms, heightened alertness. Physiologically, excitement and anxiety feel remarkably similar. Your brain just applies a different filter depending on the context. So, if you know the biology is the same, you can consciously reframe that anxiety as excitement. Your body is just giving you the energy you need to do a really great job. Now, when those butterflies start getting super loud, it's usually because your attention is focused entirely on yourself. You're asking things like, what if I forget what to say? What if they just don't like me? But a kind of magical thing happens when you shift your focus to serving the audience instead. Ask yourself, what does this audience need today? Or what's the one big idea I want them to walk away with? Suddenly, your self-consciousness gets so much quieter because, well, you've made it about them, not you. It's so easy to look out at a crowd and just see a pack of wolves waiting for you to mess up. But guys, that is entirely in your head. Most audiences are actually rooting for you. They aren't sitting out there hoping you fail. I mean, why would they? They gave up their own time to be there. They genuinely want you to succeed because your success means they'll learn something, they'll be entertained, or they'll get some real value out of it. They are on your side for sure. Which brings us to part 2, the pre-speech routine. This is all about the hours before you speak and how to physically ground yourself. One of the absolute most effective things you can do to reduce all those scary unknown variables is simply to arrive early. Just walk around the stage, test out the microphone, maybe chat with a few early bird audience members to get comfortable with the environment. Why does this work so well? Well, to your brain, an unfamiliar room feels threatening. It triggers that primal fight or flight response. By showing up early and claiming the space, you make the room familiar. And a familiar room feels way less threatening. Just before you go on, you've got to build your confidence on cold, hard evidence, not emotion. Your emotions are going to scream that you're in danger, but your evidence tells a totally different story. So remind yourself, I've prepared, I know this topic, I've handled presentations before. And above all, remember this, you do not need to be perfect, you just need to be helpful. Grounding yourself in your actual competence is what overrides that emotional panic. Okay, moving on to part 3, harnessing your physical energy. We're talking about those critical minutes right before you take the stage. When that adrenaline hits, oh man, your heart is just pounding. And listen, your body has already made the decision to release that chemical, so do not try to suppress it. You can't just sit perfectly still and force yourself to be calm. You have to move, walk around, stretch a bit, shake out your arms. You've got this incredible surge of nervous energy, and movement helps you channel it outward instead of letting it bottle up internally into a total panic attack. Use the energy, don't fight it. Now, once you've burned off that initial physical tension, it is time to deliberately slow down. This is exactly how you study your voice.
You inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. You hold it for 2 seconds. And then, and this is the crucial part, you exhale slowly for 6 seconds. That longer exhale is the real secret key here. A longer exhale actively triggers your body's relaxation response. It overrides the panic and physically forces your heart rate to slow back down.
And that brings us to part 4, delivering your message, the exact moment of truth when you step into the spotlight. Look, the very first rule here is selective memorization. Whatever you do, do not try to memorize your entire speech word for word. That just creates 100 times more anxiety about forgetting something. Instead, you need to know your opening cold. Your nerves are always going to be the absolute strongest right out of the gate. So if you memorize your opening, your transition into the main content, and your closing, you're essentially building yourself safety nets. Once you get through that opening and find your flow, your confidence is going to grow completely naturally.
When you finally walk out to the center of that stage, I want you to just pause, smile, take one deliberate breath, and then deliver your first sentence way more slowly than feels natural. Most speakers rush because that adrenaline speeds absolutely everything up in your brain. You might feel like you're talking at a totally normal pace, but to the audience, you're sprinting. By forcing yourself to slow down for that very first minute, you set a really comfortable, commanding pace for the rest of the event. As you really get into your presentation, you've just got to accept that imperfection is totally normal. What audiences actually remember is clarity, authenticity, confidence, and value. Notice what's missing from that list? Perfection. Audiences rarely expect you to be flawless. If you have a little stumble, or if you forget a specific word, or take a slightly awkward pause, sure, it feels like a massive earthquake to you. But I promise, the audience barely even notices. They are there for the value of your message, not a perfect theatrical performance. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, kind of provocative thought. What if your nerves are actually your greatest advantage? We spend so much time trying to eliminate the butterflies, but what if that anticipatory adrenaline is actually the ultimate fuel for a dynamic, passionate, and really successful presentation? The next time you feel that flutter in your stomach, just remember, your body is getting you ready to perform. Embrace it, channel it, and go share your message with the world. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I really hope this helps you conquer the stage.